Hello Grizzlers, welcome back. It's been 2 or 3 weeks since I did the other video. I've been on holiday since. I got back a couple of weeks ago, but I've been busy. I've had trouble with the van and had to sort that out, and a few other bits and pieces that threw me off key. So I'm now ready to give you the review of the holiday. And while I've been messing about on here, trying to get everything together, I'm no good with technology. I don't know how to insert things, but while I was trying to get a couple of photos and a video inserted so I could use it in this, I managed to delete everything, which I thought was just perfect for the way my life is going at the moment. So I went to Puerto de la Cruz in Tenerife, the north of Tenerife. First, I'll talk about the town. Now, you can Google it or YouTube it. There's plenty of people on there that have done the walks. The town's lovely. It's lovely. It's quite oldie worldy. There's an old town. There's a new. It's nice. It's nice. There's shops and there's restaurants. Now, probably it was out of season for Tenerife, so. A couple of the bars and that weren't open, I don't think. But for shops and restaurants, perfect. If you're hungry, perfect. If you want to buy something, perfect. But not a lot else. And I wouldn't say at all that the town or the holiday really is in that part of the island is for youngsters or young couples that want a bit of life. I didn't see anything for youngsters to do really. I mean, obviously you've got that big Loro Park, the animal place, but you know, when you want to go out of an evening with your girlfriend or your bird or your missus or whatever, have a bit of a lively night, it didn't seem like there was anything for you there, which is fine because it was mostly elderly, which is good, and because I am elderly. But it can get a bit boring, I think. So anyway, I'll now talk about the hotel, which was up in the hills a bit. It was a 20-minute walk from Puerto de la Cruz, but it was all downhill. So it's not a hard walk into town, but you don't really want to walk back up to the hotel. Now, the hotel was called the Blue Sea Jardin and Spa. They call it Costa Jardin when you're there. Like I said, it's up in the mountains. Now, unbeknownst to me, the hotel had only opened up again 2 days before I got there because of the refurb and building work they're doing. Wasn't a major problem. Pulled up in the coach from the airport. Looked a bit rough on the outside, but with all due respect, they were building. They were making the outside look nice, which at the end of the 2 weeks looked lovely, and it was sorted. So. But that didn't bother me. I walked into the reception, booked a single room, a single holiday. I think it was 1,100 quid, all inclusive, 2 weeks. The first thing they did was they upgraded me to a double room. They did it. And I thought, oh, that was a result. And it was a result because the room was lovely. So the room itself, with the bed and the wardrobes and the TV, everything working, the Wi-Fi, everything was good as gold. Had a fresh coat of paint, fresh furniture. It was nice. Now, the bathroom, again, people seem to get hung up on bathrooms. It was dated. It was dated. But from a builder's perspective, I can understand why they don't refurb all the bathrooms at the same sort of time, and probably because once you start ripping out a bathroom, you've lost it for a week or two, haven't you? But a coat of paint sufficed lovely. It was fine. The sink worked, the bath shower worked, the toilet worked, the hairdryer worked. That even had a bidet which worked. So you know, I don't spend 8 hours a day in my bathroom. So it really didn't bother me that wasn't really that updated. But one thing I will say is the cleaners. spotlessly clean. The whole room every day, and the bathroom spotlessly clean. New towels, new rolls of toilet paper. The beds all made and turned down for you. The patio, the balcony I had, which overlooked Mount Tady, which was beautiful, was spotless, all washed down, absolutely spotless. So that was the room. The room was fine. Now, the restaurant. We go to the restaurant. No, I'll do the pool first. The pool. The pool was good. The pool was freezing cold, but once you got in, it was fine. Now, by the pool, you've got loads of sun loungers and umbrellas and whatever, which was fine. The only downside to me that I found was the sunbeds. Now, the sunbeds are just white plastic with a blue mesh, and the mesh, you didn't have no cushions for it, so you either had to sit on your towel or get a couple of towels or whatever. But you had to sit on the blue mesh, which I found really uncomfortable because as soon as you sat on it and the strut was underneath you, your ass went numb. So, if they had, again, it's a small gripe, if they had the facility to rent cushions for a couple of euros a day, I would have done that. But they didn't have that facility, so it was whatever it was. Now, the weather was lovely, and what used to happen was the sun seemed to come up about 8, 9 o'clock in the morning, and then about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, 1:30, it started to cloud over. It was still really hot and warm, really warm, but no immediate sunshine. So after 4 or 5 hours, which was plenty enough for me to be laying on a lounger that was numbing the arse out of me, I was then out walking into town or in the room watching a film or whatever, sitting on the balcony, doom scrolling on YouTube or whatever. It was fine. The weather was good, yeah. So now we go into the hotel. We go downstairs in the hotel. The pool. I've done the pool. Pool was fine. There's a lifeguard in the pool looking after all the kids. Got a whistle, keeps them in. The actual hotel was probably 70% Spanish occupied, and they were nice people. They were really nice people. Kids are having a great time, well behaved. It was good. Obviously, there's a few English, a few Scottish turned up. Couple of Eastern Europeans I was chatting to. Yeah, it was a good mix of people. And bear in mind, it's out of season now. So, you've got, what have you got? Downstairs. So you go down to reception. I was on the 4th floor, room of 417. So I used to go downstairs and then turn right as I got into reception and head for the restaurant. Now, the restaurant, it was buffet style, as is their wont. Breakfast was a bit bland, but sausage, egg, bacon, beans, everything you'd think of, fruit, loads of bread, croissants, ham, cheese, enough for a breakfast. Lunches, I only had a couple. Again, they were buffet style. I only had a couple, and that was burger and chips, until I realised that by the swimming pool, at 1 o'clock, there was a little cafe bar opened up, and you could walk in there and get your burger and chips, which is all I really wanted for lunch, a bowl of chips. So that's what I had. So I can't really comment on the lunches too much. It looked good, it looked nice, but the dinners in the evening, for what I paid, I thought it was excellent, absolutely excellent. The vegetables, the choice, the fish. They had an Italian section. They had for pastas. They even had that Spanish jamon, that stuff they cut off the actual leg. There was a bloke doing that, and that was popular with the Spanish. Obviously, that's one of their national dishes, isn't it? But the veg, the meat, I had some of the nicest pork chops that I'd ever had in a sauce, and yeah. I had pasta as well one night. The Italian was lovely. Roast dinner. It was lovely. I really found the meals in the evening lovely. Then you go into the bar. Now, this is where it gets a little bit strange. There's a bar that's outside the restaurant, which is nice, just outside the restaurant in the foyer, which is like an international drinks bar, which is fine. Now, I didn't go to it because I wasn't drinking much. I just didn't fancy it. So I don't know if you had to pay for international drinks or not. You know, your Smirnoffs, your Jack Daniels, all that sort of stuff. So I don't know if that was an extra charge. I can't say it was, but I can't say it wasn't. What I did see was a sign on there when it was shut, which said you can increase your all-inclusive to cover an international drinks package for €30 a day. So I am now assuming when I read that you would have to pay for the international drinks. However, downstairs there was the all-inclusive bar, which is the entertainment area, loads of chairs, bit of a stage. And the entertainment, I'd say, I'd sat there a couple of nights. It was fun. There was karaoke, and that's fun when you've got all nationalities having a go. The staff worked hard. The actual entertainment team worked hard. They were very good. It was good. It was good fun. It was good fun. And like I say, I probably did 4 or 5 nights out of the 2 weeks. But you know, I used to be I'd walk around the town and whatever. Then we come to the bar. Now, this is I've never had this before. This is the strangest thing. I can see the good and the bad in it, but this is the strangest. It's strange to me. When you went to the bar, you got a cup, which was an opaque grey cup, plastic, or some such eco material, which was about, I suppose you'd get 3/4 of a pint in it, maybe a bit less, half a pint, half a pint probably, just like a beaker. And for that beaker, you had to pay €1. You paid €1 and they gave you a beaker. And which was obviously, it's not glass. So the beer and all the drinks, I mean, to me, it was all right, I suppose, but it wasn't, you know, it's nicer to drink out of a glass. And every time you went back to the bar, you got a clean one and you didn't have to pay another €1, but you had the one cup. So at the end of the night, now this happens in the day as well, at the end of the day, if you take your cups back, you get your euros back, which is fine. Now I did realise that this was good for one thing, in my opinion. During the day, when people were drinking a lot and whatever, there was no glass being smashed. Nobody was having accidents around the pool. There was no broken glass or even rubbish around the pool because they paid for their cups. They were taking them back to the bar every time they wanted a drink and looking after them. So the pool it kept it clean. But it was just weird drinking out of a plastic cup all day. If I wanted tea and coffee, which I did a lot, I drank a lot of tea, a lot of coffee. They were out of coffee dispensers in machines, which had different types of coffee, lattes, cappuccinos, whites, blacks. It was fine, but the cups were tiny. So I used to get myself 2, whatever. But all in all, one thing I'm going to say I was disappointed with, and it's the only thing that I was disappointed with at the beginning. Now, I don't know if this is standard policy, but for my passport and all that, I like to keep it in the safe. I don't carry it about with me. And if I take a few quid, I put that in the safe, and my keys from home and that sort of thing. Now, they charged me €4 a day for the use of a safe. I thought that was expensive. I could have gone into town and had a breakfast for that. I actually thought €4 a day for a safe was a lot of money. But I bought it for a week, 7 days I paid for, and thought, right, it was 2 days in at the time because they couldn't find the keys when I got there. So I had to wait 2 days for them to get the safe. I paid for 7 days, €28, and a €10 deposit for the key. So I paid €28. What's that? 25 quid? I don't know for 7 days use of the safe. But I went down to reception the last day, and I said I only paid for the safe key for 7 days. I don't want to pay another load for the remaining 4 days. I'll bring the key back. And the reception said to me, don't worry, keep it, bring it back when you're finished. I said, no charge. They said, no charge. So maybe that was just a glitch in the beginning when they had all their keys assembled after all the building work. Now, the building work, there's teams of blokes. You wouldn't really know there was a lot going on. There was no noise. There was no, it wasn't intrusive. Outside was a bit busier, but mostly at the front of the hotel. Inside, there was maintenance teams running from room to room, doing bits and pieces, generally when you weren't there. But they were really absolutely no drama at all. So the hotel, the Blue Sea Jardin and Spa, Costa Jardin, was, I think, excellent value for money, for the food, for the drink, for the swimming pool, for the room. I think it was good value for money. The town, I wouldn't go there again, simply because if you don't want to shop for perfume and you don't want to eat in restaurants, which I don't do generally on my own much. I don't like to take a table of 4 up, and there wasn't really anywhere I saw that had tables for 2. I wouldn't go back to Puerto de la Cruz. Having said that, I did enjoy sitting there, drinking coffee in some of the bars, restaurants, and people watching, because that's just fun everywhere you go, isn't it? And there were some sights, let me tell you. But apart from that, it was a good holiday. That's the second time in a year and a half, I think. No, it isn't. It's the first time at Tenerife, but I went to the wrong end of the island if I wanted life. If you're a young couple, you've got to go to the south. You've got to go to the south. Yeah. So that's basically it. I'd go again. I would go to Tenerife again. I'm flying out of Norwich, which is a small local airport. For the money I paid, I thought it was good value. It's 20 minutes to get me to the airport, and it's 20 minutes to get home. So it really isn't a drama. And I'd rather pay a bit of a tariff from flying local with TUI, who I flew with. I would rather pay them a bit of a tariff rather than have to go to Gatwick, Heathrow, Luton, wherever, because it's just a pain in the arse, and I don't like travelling that much. Now, Tenerife was nearly a 5-hour flight, and I don't know if I'd do Tenerife again, because to be honest, for 5 hours, I could do Spain in 2.5, Menorca, Benidorm, what's that, couple of hours. Time you've got on the plane, watched a film, you're there, and you had a cup of tea or a beer, you're there. So yeah, there was pros and cons, but all in all, the holiday was for an older couple. It's fine. If you're watching the budget, it's fine. It's fine. There's better hotels, there's worse hotels, I'm sure, but I was quite happy going. So that's the review. The Blue Sea Jardin and Spa in Puerto de la Cruz, Tenerife. Yeah, so I'm going to do another video about anything really. Some things that are going on that I've seen on the news, not mainstream media, but the news and all sorts, because I think times are changing now. I think on a serious note, Grizzlers, I think we've got an awful lot to grizzle about nowadays, because things are getting shall we say, uncomfortable for some people. So maybe I'll have a little look at that at the next video and ask you comments on how you think things are going. But apart from that, have a lovely day. Oh, my van's fixed, by the way. A fantastic mechanic in Norwich. Sorted it out. Took him a few days, but he had to order the parts and bits and pieces. And only cost me 80 quid. But it was, you know, saved me a lot of grief. So I'm all good. I'm going to shopping now, do a bit for the weekend. My passport's run out. I applied for a new one. Oh, yeah, that's a joke, isn't it? I applied for a new passport when I got home off holiday. And the hardest thing was taking the photograph and actually getting it approved. Because it says on the, you take your photograph as to how they say. I took it on an iPhone. And then they say it's good, so you can send it in. So it was good, so I sent it in. Week and a half later, I get an email. Photograph's no good, your passport's on hold. So I spent the best part of, Tuesday this week, taking another couple of photos, sent it in, got an email yesterday, Wednesday, saying approved. They'll let me know when it's in the post. Got a message today, a text, saying it's being delivered tomorrow between 8:20 and 12:20. So I got another 10-year passport. But it was £102. 102 quid. £102 just to renew a passport. And people are coming across the boats with nothing and getting in and being put in hotels. And I have to go through security every time I come back in this country and have the ins and outs of my arse looked at. That's something for another video, isn't it? All right, Grizzlers. Speak to you soon. Have a lovely day. Ta-da.